Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Somebody wrote to me, how to defeat the ego and pride. That's exactly the job. That's the big thing. How to defeat ego and pride. The answer is easy. After that, it's the work to put it into practice. Day in and day out. How can we defeat? How can we have a chance? Simply by being alert, by looking at oneself, by seeing what is going on. And when we see that ego, pride sneaking in, that we decide, I'm not going down that road. The habit is so strong, it will come in spite of that. We'll forget, we'll completely get lost in it. It needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of devotion. It needs a lot of faith. But what can we do if we are not equipped with all these virtues? We can muster up enough courage to start. We can muster up enough confidence that it's worth the trouble. Then we make the first step, and then we muster up enough for the second step, and so it goes. It's a continuous job. What we can do to make it a bit easier is that we don't take it so heavy, so serious, but learn to have a playful attitude about it. Not every time when we say, oh, I got completely caught up in the old habits, that we are devastated because of it. Okay, so what got me again, it's already past, but now I can connect. Now I can be alert. The whole human society is functioning like that. Of course, the pull is enormous to join, to just function in what is called normal. It's not really normal, it's just usual. But it's that what's going on. And then we function like this. We never question. The habit gets stronger and stronger. And then when we start to sincerely look at it, it seems a Herculean job, task, nearly impossible. If we honestly look at ourselves and then see the gap between how it is functioning and how we aspire to function, it can sometimes give us a real blow. But don't stop. Don't get discouraged. Every attempt counts. Every time we consciously bring the attention back to the source, have a good look, see the mechanism, and then learn to turn into another direction. Every attempt counts. And what we have built up unconsciously and what is there to pull us can be neutralized consciously. That we build up that capacity to consciously choose whether we are going in this direction or that direction, whether we are just letting it go, slipping into that ego maniac, prideful behavior, or whether we just step a step back and learn to be natural. That doesn't mean we have to play humble. It's a tricky thing that again can become an ego thing, showing off how humble we are, how spiritual we are. No, it's an internal affair to really honestly see if I'm acting like this, if I'm feeling like this, if I'm thinking like this, I'm creating more of that sense of separation, me and the others. I want to put my personality somehow on top and above the others. I want them to admire me. That personality is just a role, that's not what we are. We have to learn to think and feel and act in such a way that that sense of separation is weakening, not strengthening. I wrote to him, it's a continuous job. It, we simply have to be alert. See when it is sneaking in, and then learn ways of not giving way to it. The answer is simple. The understanding is simple. But the job is something we need a lot of courage and determination, devotion to truth, devotion to come back home to that divinity that is our true nature. We can have devotion to God, we can have devotion towards the Guru, we can have devotion just to truth, to the self. It's coming to the same. But if we learn to go about it in a relaxed way, in a playful way, then it doesn't look like a terrible road. Because it's not that we have to work and work and work in the hope that sometime, somewhere in the far future, far away, we are going to get the reward for it. Every time we successfully turning away from that mechanism, from that ego-centered mechanism, it's like, it's a burden that is dropping off, and one feels so much better and lighter. We're getting immediately the reward for it. That's what we are here for, to learn that we have somehow, we're crazy enough somehow to decide to get born, to incarnate, to project into this world, into this magic show, knowing it's not going to be an easy thing, knowing that, but it's worth to jump into it, knowing that most probably I'm going to forget completely, getting sucked into the usual way of functioning, and then eventually that reminding voice that is always there in everybody, but we try to cover it up, but that the reminding voice will come and say, hey, hey, there is a totally different way to exist. And we start to consciously go about it. This work is not in vain. This work is worth the trouble. The self remains the same, and yet the experience of it is expanding, and we are collecting a lot of strength going through this process, getting caught up and then working the way out. That's what we came here for. Now, Dial wrote me one Russian friend. What's her name already? I'm not even sure whether I'm pronouncing it properly. Gusel. I don't know whether it's correct. It's today as I'm saying it. Anyhow, she asks, can I say something about it? There is a 4-year-old child diagnosed as schizophrenic. Now the question is, why is such a being coming into such a situation? Is there a lesson to be learned? Is there a lesson to be learned for the parents? Well, we are coming into this world to learn, to have confrontations, to grow, to outgrow situations. Now, a being may come quite consciously into a situation that is difficult. Just living that difficulty, bearing with the day-to-day affairs, the day-to-day confrontations is accumulating something very precious. Anyhow, I don't think it's your child, Gathel, but what I recommend is not to take that diagnosis as God's own truth and put a stamp on that, a mark on that poor kid that condemns him to be in that role the whole life long. I would also recommend that you rather look for help in naturopathy instead of feeding a poor 4-year-old organism already all the poison that the pharma is offering for that. It's hurting the brain, it's preventing it from developing properly. But to answer the question, is there a lesson learned for the parents? Yes, of course, it is a difficult situation. Dealing with that difficult situation without despair, dealing it, accepting the situation, and doing their best, not only in their own interest, but really in that interest of the young being that is there, that it has a chance to develop. That the whole society functions so strongly like this that people are getting diagnosed, getting a stamp that they have this and that, and then they sort of settle into that role instead of getting the impulse when such a thing is happening to work their way out. And of course, a 4-year-old is not in a position to decide this and decide that. A 4-year-old who is obviously having some difficulties to adjust with the surroundings, with this, maybe with the family, maybe with the friends, is being diagnosed and after that declared sick in a certain way and then treated in a way that instead of helping rather numbs and prevents that body-mind manifestation can beautifully develop. So for parents, their job is to accept the situation, but not in defeat, not, okay, that's how it is. Now, our child is going to be schizophrenic the whole life long. But look for possibilities to help and rather look it with alternative medicine, with naturopathy, light treatments. If they are opening their eyes, then the support is also there that will guide them to the right places. But then, of course, a child with difficulties like this is not easy to deal with from day to day. There will be many clashes, many confrontations. If they can learn to be more and more centered in the now, that they can learn to accept the difficult situations that may arise peacefully instead of reacting destructively with anger, then they gain a great spiritual benefit from it. And actually, that is the best thing they can do in order to help the child. Maybe that being came with the knowledge this will be the situation in the beginning of the life, but also with the intention somehow or other I'm going to work my way out of it. But anyhow, no matter what is happening, this is not wasted. It's not in vain. Just going on day after day, being in the situation, having to face difficulties, having to face the tensions, the physical pains, is accumulating something very precious. And that being, no matter whether they work their way out of it, of that situation in this lifetime or not, but all that wealth is with them. And that being at one point will start to consciously reap the fruit of it. Acceptance is important, but acceptance not in defeat, just accepting the situation with the decision, okay, we take up the challenge. We, from our heart, do our best. Our best for us and our best for him or her. I'm not going into details, medical details, but I wish you well, whoever you are, about whom we have been talking. But this is a message generally I want to give to people. Let's not pick up a stamp when there is a diagnosis and think, okay, that's it, that's my destiny, finished. It's even possible you go to one place, get the diagnosis, go to another place, get another diagnosis. But even if the diagnosis is true, it can always be an incentive that we are somehow mustering up our strength and at least not get completely submerged, but in spite of the situation, still consciously develop. And in many cases, diseases can be healed. It's amazing what the body can do. It's amazing how a body can regenerate. It's amazing how a body can heal if we let it do the job, if we don't prevent it. With unhealthy medicines, with unhealthy thinking, with unhealthy feelings, we prevent it, we sabotage it. With the feeling of defeat, and that's how it is. And funny enough, often people who are not well, then they get a diagnosis, they get a stamp, you have this and that, they sort of are relieved and think, okay, I'm having that, and settle down in that. Instead of thinking, all right, I'm making the best out of the situation. There is such a potential in everyone. I'm not saying everybody can always heal themselves from inside out. Sometimes the weight of karma is there and one has to go through it. But if we accept situations as a challenge, and not simply settle in and think, oh, that's how it is, can do nothing, then we can benefit from difficulties. It's a possibility to learn, to grow. What is the lesson the parents can learn? It's always the same lesson. Become aware themselves. Become aware how they are functioning. Facing the difficult situations with ever increasing calm, being capable of being centered in their own experience of being in the present. If they go about it in that situation, they benefit the best from it, and definitely the child also will benefit the best. I wish them all well. Somebody wrote a message. Floyd says, virgin coconut oil daily helps to reverse autism and other mental conditions. I don't know about that, and we are not going now too much into the medical situation. And Andrea says schizophrenia is very rare in children under age 10. Usually the diagnosis is made age 18 or older. That's what I also think. It is not something one should take as God's own truth when a 4-year-old child is being diagnosed schizophrenia. Definitely don't let that stamp hang on that child. Yes, Andreas, hello?
Hello. I would double check that diagnosis with a very experienced child psychiatrist. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I mean, if they say it's very rare under 10, and so if the child is 4 year old,
Yeah,
he hasn't even developed the normal setup of an adult of the reality. So schizophrenia is a disturbed reality perception.
yeah,
And so I think it's very unlikely that a 4 year old you can already probably diagnose it at
yeah,
that age.
right.
So I really would double check the diagnosis. It's probably something else.
And definitely not fill the poor little child with all the pharma poison to cure schizophrenia.
Yeah, definitely, because I don't think that there's any medicine for children with schizophrenia because basically it's very rare. So they have never can never test it and never really see if it does any good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I really would doubt that
Yes,
diagnosis.
right. It's a difficult time. Poor children that are born right now, they have a very difficult situation to deal with. And if they're sometimes freaking out a bit, then it's not too surprising. Dayal, you want to come in?
Yes, Werner, there is a misunderstanding between my translation for you. It's not 4 years child, it's just a child. So there's no
Uh-huh.
age was mentioned. Yes.
I see. Ah, then I have somehow gotten that wrong. But anyhow, all that we said is still valid, even if the child is older than 4 years. It's not a stamp that one should take up and then leave it there and then fatalistically think, okay, we can give some medicine, official medicine from the pharma that is simply numbing, usually, not really curing, and keeps people in the same state. But the question was also more about what does it mean for the being? And for all the beings involved, it means a challenging situation, and we can always turn challenging situations into something positive, a possibility to grow, to outgrow, to become stronger, to expand, to become more aware of that immense potential that is there waiting to be tapped into. But okay, let's drop the subject. And I'm asking, is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? Hello, Floyd. You have to unmute.
Yeah, hi,
Ah,
Werner.
hello.
Yes. Uh, about healing, I don't know if you think the same thing, but what I have come to believe is that, mm, like, really about what you use, like what kind of medicine or what kind of uh, treatment, but it is more about what kind of faith you have in the treatment that you are using or in the method or in the healer. It's the faith which actually sort of heals. And, that faith is also not something which you develop, but it's something inherent. It's like an inherent trust that this will work. Like there's not much of doubting and pushing, pulling about things. And then things start healing, because I'm sure in India, many kids behave in weird ways in villages and things like that. But no one goes and gets, this kind of diagnosis of mental profiling and all that. And many times they just end up fine, after some time.
Yeah.
So would you say it is faith or something which helps to heal?
Faith, your question is whether faith is helping to heal.
Yeah.
Yes, sure, definitely.
The
Faith,
faith or the confidence in the healer.
yeah, and in oneself and in God.
Yeah.
The faith that
Yeah.
that the
Because
situation
there's,
is not simply fixed, but it's a opportunity to work
mm,
and to grow out of it.
mm, yeah. Because there's a story of a doctor, like this was told by Dr. B.M. Hegde. He's a cardiologist who now advocates natural medicine and things like that.
Yeah.
So he would tell a story of a man who was not a doctor. He was more like a guy who would work at the pharmacy. But he started giving medicines to people on a certain day, and there would be a very long line of people, waiting for the treatment. And the moment you come, he would ask, "What is your problem?" And then it's like, these temple darshans, like, what is it? Like, they will have a long line. And when you reach there, you say, "What is your problem?" And you just pull out some medicines, some pills from the, box, and he will give it. And he'll tell you to get lost. So I think it is somewhere that long queue and the entire waiting and the entire, psychological build up and the story that people hear, it already starts making them feel that, something is going to change in their life.
Right. If somebody believes that, that's a very strong influence. It's a bit simplistic to say this is just how it's going to work. But this is a major aspect, that we believe in our own strength, that we believe that there is basically in our center, we are whole, we are healthy, and we can connect with that. And if somebody believes in the healer implicitly and takes some medicine, then of course that belief will help a lot. On top of that, still, I would recommend to rather take healthy medicine than medicine that is again putting more difficulties into the system.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the issues is that Ayurveda has a lot of formulations for many different things. And same thing with naturopathy, but there is not enough research because of whatever society we live in. There is not enough research to, convince people about these medicines. But a lot of people get results. I know the owner of a Ayurvedic medicine factory. So a lot of people get relief from quite difficult conditions, but the general belief is not there that natural medicines or nature can help them to heal.
Yeah, we have to develop the faith that basically we can heal ourselves. And then a medical treatment can support that process. Not that the medical treatment has to heal ourselves, but that wholeness, that healthiness is already there. We just have to tap into it and learn to let it flow into the manifestation. So a good healer is somebody who somehow makes the people aware how they can heal themselves. And then he can support that process. Give them confidence. Give them faith. Faith not simply into a pill, but in themselves. Faith in God is the same.
Yeah.
Anyhow, shall we drop the subject?
Yes. Yes. No, because I'm into some forms of healing, so I was just wondering if what you had to say about this.
Oh, you are yourself busy with some healing stuff.
Yeah, healing not myself, but not a profession, but
Sorry, you're
like
breaking up
regression,
again.
massage.
Now I hear.
Sorry. Yeah. I think it's the breeze. Yeah. I've learned some forms of healing, like massage therapy, energy healing, past life regression, things like that. So I wonder, whether what can help people to heal.
Yeah, the most precious help you can give to people to somehow convince them that they want to heal, that they can heal, that they don't want to settle into a condition of being sick and then somehow just float there and take a bit medicine that it's bearable. But then if you can convince them that they want to heal and that they can heal, and then you can help with the healing. If they don't want to heal, you can do whatever you like. It's not going to work. They may feel momentarily a bit relieved and will come back and want the same again.
Yes, yes, yes. I've also discovered some mantras from the Nath tradition.
Yeah.
Given to me by a Nath yogi for healing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying, if someone wants, I can chant for them, pray for them. Though I don't know, there are not many people who want to be chanted for or prayed for, because I think inherently they don't believe, something like that can happen.
Yeah.
But what I believe is even presence and love which someone sends, it has an effect in some way or the other.
Sure.
But I think people generally are very skeptical in today's world about everything, and unless there's a brand around something, I think if Ramana was not a brand, I don't think people would come to Tiruvannamalai. It's like they go for the brand. Like, so that was why I was asking him if, yeah.
Basically,
Okay, thank you.
in all the fields, the best we can do for people is to kindle in them self-confidence. Not arrogance, but real confidence in the self, in their own potential. And this is so with healing, and this is so with psychology, and this is so with spirituality. That is the most precious help. If they start to have confidence in themselves, it can be translated into confidence in God. It comes to the same, whether you have confidence in the self or confidence in God. But that there is the possibility, that there is strength, that there is a total tremendous potential we can tap into that. If you somehow can convey that to people, then you're really helping them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what one of my mentors says, you have to first gauge the confidence level and see how you can bring that up. Otherwise, they will not succeed in anything that they are trying to do.
Yeah, right.
But also, do you think it's necessary to gauge the path also? Because like in India, I think people would rather have more faith in God. And in the Western world, they would rather have more faith in self, and maybe the words don't make a big difference, but they would like to be told that you can do it. And in India, I think people would be, at least a lot of people would like to be told that God will do it for you.
Yeah, it's also in India very different from one individual to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In cities, yes, they feel they will do it for themselves. But most of the other places, you see, people rushing to temples and
Yes.
But something happens, they rush to temples rather than go to a bigger hospital or another doctor.
Yeah.
They try to rush to temples and places of saints and siddhas and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we but so the prescription is different for everyone. So is it dependent on the level of presence of the healer or the person who is suggesting something, advising something?
Definitely,
wanting
that is one very important aspect. Two healers can prescribe exactly the same thing, may do the same rituals, but if there is one with a strong presence, then there will be much more effect than somebody who is themselves full of tensions and doubts and contradictions.
Yeah. But also funny enough, I don't know if it's a rare case, but with Osho, there was in Osho's commune, I don't know if it was after Osho or before Osho, there was a healer who was very, like, he was not good to look at, he was not like a meditator, yogi kind of looks. And he was very much, he would go out and drink and smoke and eat meat and very extreme. So you would think of him as some kind of, very tamasic character.
Yeah.
But Osho, or I think someone at Osho's place, told him that you are a great healer, hence you have to start practicing healing. And when he started practicing healing, people would get well and people would have a lot of good results when he would give healing. But I don't know what that is, but maybe it is his past life gift or something. But in this life, he didn't show any signs of being present or awakened or anything like that. But people would get healed through what he does.
That in spite of the
Yeah,
way he
this
was
sort of
living
gift.
and behaving, he must have had already a potential in him that he was not quite aware, that was active. And he was not aware because it was simply there and it was
Yeah.
normal for him.
Yeah.
But it's also true that if he continues like that, he may also lose it. And if he is at the same time as he is doing his healing thing,
Yeah.
he works on himself and becomes stronger, then both can develop.
Mm. Mm. Yes. Yeah, thanks, Werner.
You're welcome. Hariyo. Hariyo.
Hari Om. Hari.
Is there anybody else who would like to come? Hello,
Hi.
Leela. Hello.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about lying and truth.
Uh-huh.
Okay. One question, which is, I think, a big question, like a general question, is what is truth? But maybe I will ask first and you can connect. Because I listened to somebody, a pilot in the army, high degree pilot, and he described his missions during the war, and I felt very uncomfortable after his talk because I felt he was lying about his intention not to hurt people there, not to kill actually people when he throws something there like a bomb.
Yeah.
And I felt very disturbed, and I asked somebody, and they told me, two people actually told me that he's lying both to himself and also to us, because there is no way to do what he does and to not kill. And in general, in life, I wonder how much we lie to ourselves and to other people in order to feel good about what is going on.
In order to justify our actions. Huh?
Well, I didn't say that. That's more complex. Yeah, specifically in that, what I told, it's what you said, but in general in life, maybe we live in a lie. I mean, up to a point, more or less. Not maybe, like, about death, for instance, and altogether, how much are we sincere? How much are we willing to see truth, whatever it means, and to not lie? Let's say if I look in the mirror, how many wrinkles do I have? Do I have many? When I look at the photo, it seems like I have more wrinkles than I have when I look at the mirror. So I don't know. I don't know actually
Well,
how many wrinkles I have.
we have been brought up in a world, in a society where there it's full of lies. We're growing up being lied to. You listening to the news. A good part of it is always lies. It, and then we learn that that is the normal way of existing, and and then people, without thinking about it, without thinking that they are lying, learn to do that also, lying to themselves and lying to the people around. Simply to whenever it gives an advantage, then a lie comes out. Now, how to deal with it? Basically, be truthful. But I can accept that there are situations where it is simply not better not to tell the whole truth because it just creates unnecessary hurt in people. And there it is important that I'm not lying to myself, that I'm true to myself and to that which I feel is right. And deep down, if we just would listen, deep down, we know what we feel is right. But then we have in the mind always so many arguments when that what we know is not so convenient that we tell lies to ourselves to justify, to cover up, to say, no, no, this is right. And after all, they are doing that, and that's how it is being done. And it should be natural that we are truthful. You are the truth. And it should be natural that we let that inner truth flow into manifestation. But we have grown up learning to be not natural. And so what should be there naturally, we have to learn as if it is something new. That means we start with a decision that I really want to be honest. And we have to start with ourselves, to be honest with ourselves, honestly look at ourselves, honestly see how we are functioning, how we are reacting, and see then how much we are reacting and thinking and feeling in ways that we think it's not quite right. And that we learn to accept it, that it is there, and learn to adjust it, learn to correct it. Then you can go through the world and be aware there are lies all over the place, but you're shining with truth and you are at peace with yourself. As long as we know that I'm lying to myself, I'm I'm just telling stories. I'm just in order to justify, in order to cover up, in order to something, then there is always that unease. We cannot really be at ease. We are always creating any tension in ourselves. But if we are true to ourselves, even if people don't like that very much, even if you don't get only glorious feedback about it, if you are true to yourself, then you are at peace. And that is the most important thing. Then you feel you are truthful.
So at the beginning, you actually said that I feel it's a kind of policy, like in society, like a person like I spoke about, he's almost maybe he's taught to lie. I mean, it's part
Yes.
of his job. And of course, politicians, not to, of course. But as you said, and that's very disturbing, like even doctors you spoke before, because of politics of the health system also. Yeah, but specifically about the case that I spoke about, and also about myself, like all of a sudden I thought, maybe also I lie to myself about stuff that I meant good, or
Hmm.
how do I know? But I think you gave the answer.
You learn to know by this, by deciding to be honest with yourself and look at
Yeah.
yourself honestly. And as I said, it should be natural that we are honest, especially with ourselves. But since we have learned to be tricky, it's something that we have to learn, and we learn it by practice, by reminding ourselves again now, honestly, look at yourself, see what is really going on, stop telling yourself stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's a subject.
It's a subject, but it's a worthy subject to think about it, to contemplate about it, and to put it into practice.
Yeah, so just one more thing about the general, like nowadays again in Israel, there is no way to know what is actually going on.
Yeah.
No way to know really what is going on. Why don't you tell us? Or they also don't know.
Yes, some do know, and they tell whatever they like. At least you can be sure you cannot rely what you hear from the official propaganda machine.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want more truth, you can get sometimes from alternative information, but even there, you cannot know how much is true and how much is not true.
Yeah, because they also have an interest, but I believe them more because
Yes,
these people in general are what can I say, my type of people, honest, and they look for the truth, and they look for the
yes. You find
just
more truth
justice.
there. You find more
Yeah.
truth there, but somehow you can accept that basically you have to find truth, you have to look in yourself, find that fountain of truth and live that truth, and then you can accept that you live in a world where there is a lot of untruth just going on, and deal with it as good as you can.
Yeah. Okay, Werner. Thank
Yes,
you.
you will. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Ariel.
I have when Leela came in, I saw the picture of Ravi. Ravi, do you want to come in and say something? Maybe not more there. It's late in Australia. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome to do so. Okay, let me say a few more words about truthfulness. The general reaction when one talks about it is rather, but we are being told lies, why should we be truthful? Expecting the world to be truthful, and then I also can be truthful. It doesn't work like that. You are that truthful, divine existence. We are doing it not for show, for the world, for the society. We are doing it for ourselves. As long as we keep on holding on to stories of which we deep down really feel actually it's not like that. If we just look at it, but we refuse to look at, then we perpetuate our own proper unease and are never quite all right. As I said to Leela, That doesn't mean we have always to go around and blurt out whatever we think is true in any situation. Many times it just doesn't help. It's clear it's creating just more tension. Sometimes it's okay to create tension if there is a chance that something beautiful can develop from it. But then we can also be diplomatic. But then when we are diplomatic without not always telling everything that we know about a certain subject, because we know it's just creating disturbance and it doesn't help anyone, then we are still truthful to ourselves. It's not to be truthful that we have now to wait every word that comes out of the mouth and think, is it true, is it not true? Be truthful in spirit. That we not only learn to tell the truth outside, but we learn first to have a good look at ourselves and are truthful about what we see there. That we're not covering up like the government's covering up their mechanisms, that we are not covering up our inner mechanisms. That we, and sometimes it may be the roof may come down on the head. If we really look honestly at ourselves, sometimes we may be shocked what we are seeing there. When we stop pretending and just with a brutal honesty look what's going on, how I'm feeling and thinking about certain things, certain people. But then this is a very precious, important step that we do that. For if we are not aware that we are doing that, there's very little chance that we can drop it. When we see certain stuff that really oppose it, when we look at ourselves, then we can start to detach from it. That it is still there as a possibility, but it doesn't have the power, less and less power over us. And sometimes a flicker may come up and I see, it's there, it comes, it goes, and doesn't leave a trace anymore. But we have to decide that we are really totally honest with ourselves. And that is something that we can practice, consciously decide, and do so as good as we can. And if we do it again and again, we are getting deeper. And when we are getting deeper, sometimes we have shocks again. Thinking, after all, finally, I have become quite a good person. But if we are looking deeper, then we may find there is still that motivation there that often is appalling. And it's good to accept that it's there, to see that it's there, not to deny it, not to justify it, not to judge ourselves because of that. There is no point in judging ourselves, but see that it's there, and when we see it, we can detach from it. Maybe immediately, maybe gradually. Sometimes it just drops. Sometimes we have to face something again and again and again, and each time we can detach a little better. If something is strong, it doesn't simply go away. But what is needed, that will, that we really honestly look at ourselves, that we look at it, that we don't want to play a role and want the feedback from others, but we really see what's going on. Why? Because if I want to be free of it, I have to face it. That doesn't mean we have to dig in the dirt and look, is there something more to look at? Is there something more to look at? deal with that which is here, now, actual. We have enough to do with that. We don't have to go in search. If we go in search, then we can get totally lost. It's a jungle with no end. But deal with that comes up here, now. And learn to let go that which is unwholesome. If we consequently do that, it becomes easier and easier. And sometimes whole fields will drop off without having to go in all the damn little details that are there connected to it. Whole fields may become just impotent, that they are not more capable of influencing our feelings, our thoughts, our actions, to be destructive, to be ego prideful, as he has asked my other friend. But that they are in harmony with our being more and more. It needs courage, but it's worth the trouble. If we don't do that, if you are not willing to look at it, we can have all kinds of spiritual philosophies. We can practice spiritual practices. I know people who have been practicing and practicing a long time, and somehow they still don't have the courage to really honestly look at themselves. Practice is for that, to help us to give insight. And then we have to have the courage to really honestly look and see what's going on. If we shy away from that, then the progress is very painful and very slow. If we have that courage, then we can drop off those burdens that we are unconsciously carrying along, that create troubles again and again. Troubles in our life, troubles in our way, how we are feeling. If we want to come back home and be natural, we have to look at what is there that prevents us. And being dishonest is such a common thing in our society that most of the people are not at all aware what the tremendous dishonesty is there. And as I said, it may be shocking to look at it, honestly. But we need that courage. And if we go about it systematically, consequently, then even the strongest burdens, even the strongest habit will loosen up. And finally, lose their control, not more being capable of directing our life, not more being capable of directing how we are feeling, how we are thinking, and how we are acting. The possibility is there, we just have to take it. Okay, I'm asking you again. Is there anyone who would like to come in? Pers, would you like?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Werner. An idea popped up in my mind when you said whole fields of things could just disappear.
Yes.
And I'm sort of, if you do your sadhana and you do your things as well as you can do, it reminds me of, it sort of reminds me of miracles comes up in my mind. You know, miracles happen.
Yeah.
And a miracle, maybe a miracle comes from God. Yes, one can say that, I guess. And I'm asking this because I mean, doing this meditation year after year for most of one's life, and you maybe don't seem, it doesn't, nothing is big is happening. It's the thing that you said sort of activates more faith in me. Faith in what I do has an effect, and it accumulates, as you say, it sort of accumulates in. It's like people doing Kundalini, for example, and they get into trouble and they don't trust the Shakti which lives in them, and the Shakti knows better than them.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a comparison. And what you're saying is, well, it gives me faith, anyways. And I'm very grateful that you talked about this, being truthful and doing the thing that you see is right. And it accumulates. And then all of a sudden, pieces fall together. Sometimes they sort of fall together automatically, and a lot of things can drop then. I really appreciate that. For me, it is this view that I'm talking about. Can I lean on it? That's my question. Okay.
Right. As I said, we don't have to go and look and dig in the dirt and to find that there is more thing to get rid of. But we have to have the courage to learn to really honestly deal of what is going on right now.
Yes.
And then not try to suppress it again in the subconscious. If we can just drop it, drop it. But some things, they are just too persistent and they keep going. We say, no, no, drop it, and it goes on. And they say, no, and keep quiet, and it goes on. And there, sometimes it's worth the trouble that we really spend some time, okay, opening up to what is going on in the mind. See what is really going on, see where it is coming from, and try not to get lost in the stories where it's coming from, but try to be consciously in the present and see how it is affecting our experience right now, how it is manifesting energetically, physically, all that stuff that goes on in the mind, all the feelings that it brings up. Watch them now and learn to relax. And then that energy that is still caught up in situations, in past situations, in whatever situations are there that have created certain mechanisms. Sometimes we have a lot of energy caught up in that. And if we let it come up consciously, observe what it is doing and learn to relax as good as we can. Relax on all the levels, relax physically, energetically. And then the emotional, intellectual relaxation also comes more easily. But relax as good as we can, then that energy that is locked into it starts to evaporate. And then suddenly it goes and we think, it's gone. But then maybe the next day the same thing may come back. And if you can, you just drop it. But if it's persistent, you have to surrender to the situation. All right, invite it again. Let it come up. Let all the thoughts come up, all the dirty feelings that I have, let them come up. But watch, see what it is doing. Be here. Don't get lost in the story and learn to relax. And each time you do so, a lot of that energy that is locked into it simply evaporates. And finally, the same thing is just a story that has no more power over you. But what I'm saying, if you do that with certain things, then after that, sometimes it happens that whole fields that are connected with similar mechanisms also simply drop off. We don't have to go in search for it. But when something comes and disturbs, it's good to accept, all right, there, I need to give it attention.
Okay. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hario. Hario.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Ravi, there you are. Hello. If you are talking, I don't hear you. You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear
And
you.
see me now? Yeah.
Now I can
okay.
hear you and see you.
So, yeah, there's a lot. I'm just going to ask you. I'm going to move rooms too, but it's just give me a moment. Close the door. There's a lot going on for me, health-wise at the moment, and you were talking before about accessing, that sense of grace or wholeness or health, kind of believing in that, connecting to that. And I can do that. But it's really hard when I'm not sleeping. And yeah, like just for months and months and months now, I've had pain in my hips. And yeah, so like as an example, last night, it's like I'm just I can't sleep very well at all. I have to keep turning from one side to the other because the pain gets too much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this year I've only slept very small amounts every night, like just ridiculously small amounts. Now I've got a virus and then it triggers all my other health issues, the arthritis, the chronic fatigue. And I feel like I was going to use the word control for want of a better word, take control of those health issues and kind of heal more. But when I'm not sleeping, everything's so hard. I just had some we finally found out that there was inflammation in the hips and it's something called hip bursitis, and I got some injections in both hips. And I don't know if definitely in one of the hips, the most because it takes 10 days and they do one hip and then 10 days later they do the other. But one of the hips, it's just done nothing, which might mean that it's not what they think it is. It could be something else. But I have such little energy at the moment to see, like I've been burning the wick, just seeing medical practitioners and trying to get diagnoses for different things, but specifically this lately, because it's like I have to push to see the practitioners to get a diagnosis so I can treat it, so I can sleep.
Mm.
But I don't have the energy to do that anymore. And I guess I wanted to get in a better space before my son's bar mitzvah in a few weeks, in 3 weeks. So I feel like at a loss because like I'm not sleeping. Like, how do you kind of feel a sense of wholeness? I just don't know how to cope, to be honest. I don't know how to. I mean, even going to sleep now, it's like there's a sense of. I think I'm just exhausted at the moment. I'm at my ends with. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's any guidance you can give.
Right. Your situation is not easy. On top of that, it's being made worse by all that is happening, all that is in the people's body that goes from one body to another, all the radiation that they are increasing diabolically. It's making it all more difficult. Now, you connect as good as you can and learn to relax as good as you can. That's all you can do. There, you contributing your part. And you can still have that intent, that deep intent that you want to free yourself from that. But not in a way, it must happen now, and then get always pissed and frustrated if it's not immediately manifesting, but leave it there as a basic direction that, yes, you can also grow out of that again. And then connect with yourself, with God, as good as you can. But then you don't necessarily have control over it. You just can open up that channel and let that inner healing beauty flow into your story. And then eventually it may manifest. It may manifest immediately that it eases up a bit, but if something is there that is just on the way and is also influenced by so many other things, then your input is one aspect and not necessarily immediately capable of neutralizing everything else. But that's what you can do. And on the other hand, if you get medical treatment that helps, then by all means, if you can sleep after that better. I would also for you suggest to be more open to natural healing ways. But of course, sometimes if something is hurting very much, then one is inclined to rather take a hammer and beat it out. The thing is, they're always having a lot of other effects, not healthy, then it comes after that later. So do whatever treatments you have to do, but basically open up more in the direction of finding holistic treatments, natural treatments, alternative treatments that are making your body mind stronger than trying to just repair and heal symptoms. In the same time, while doing so, with the repair, creating other problems again. Unfortunately, the whole pharma thing has been so totally developed with business, with money, with gain in mind, and not so much with really helping people, unfortunately. And that is manifesting now. They certainly have found out many great things, but there is a taint in it that somehow always comes through again. That's why I rather recommend, if you can find trustworthy alternative healers that can help you, then maybe you get better help from that side. But the main thing is that you still, even if you feel you are too exhausted, that you don't have to make big efforts trying to now bring that inner wholeness out into manifestation forcibly. But you can open your heart to your inner core, to that which is whole, which is healthy, that is not touched by any of this. And when you open your heart and relax, already it starts to flow and it starts to support the healing process.
There's a word, I'm going to say what was happening in my head because I haven't logically thought about it. Just maybe it's just at the moment I'm feeling sorry for my situation. Just what spontaneously came to head when you finished talking was, why do I have to suffer so much?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I'm sure there is no, I mean, karma, whatever. Like I haven't. It's just what came up in my brain. I don't even think I really want to know. I mean, anyway.
Well, it's normal that the question come up and that sometimes we rebel against something. I have had it. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
And you have also the right to yearn, to suffer less. You have less pain. But the real suffering is when we resist, then the mental stuff comes, and that is the heavy suffering. When we resist the fact, I think it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this, and really continuously create that tension in us, that is that mental anguish that is really called suffering.
Yeah.
And that we can learn to let go. That, all right, it's not the situation I had wished or that I visualized previous. It's not the situation that I like best, but nevertheless, the situation is as it is. And from there, I can go on. I can get my good impulse into it. If I resist it, then I cannot do anything creative.
Yeah. And I think there might be, I mean, what you said really hit home to me. I felt quite relaxed when you said that. Let go of some stress. I guess there's a bit of resistance too in wanting to push and get answers and get it fixed up quickly. But my body's just like the search for it's worry. It's worry, like wanting it to be solved right here, right now. And
Yeah.
that's also just accepting that this is how it is. I guess it doesn't always need to be like this.
I'm not saying you should now stop any medicine, but you are taking, I don't know the details about, take the treatments that you feel help you. But at the same time, encourage that inner healing to manifest, not try to force. It doesn't work like that. Encourage, open your heart to that. And then look maybe rather into the direction of more natural healing processes than what the usual allopathic formula type thing can give you, because they help and at the same time they destroy again. It's both, it has always both aspects. In the meantime, keep the courage to connect. Connect with yourself as good as you can, in spite of the pain, in spite of being exhausted. Learn to relax in that haven of peace that is there no matter what is happening. And then even the pains can be borne easier, even when you feel exhausted, and you can still deal with the situations easier if you have that anchor that you basically are centered in that peaceful center. And then you can develop, the more you do that, you can develop the more confidence also, that this is so complete, so whole, so healthy, so holy, that it is also possible that it can flow into the situation, into manifestation in such a way that whatever is torturing you may be removed. None of our efforts is lost, is in vain. It's accumulating something very precious. None of our struggles, our stresses we have to go through is in vain. It's accumulating something very precious. So that makes it a bit easier to accept when it's not nice. All right, I have to go through it. It's not nice, but after all, in spite of that, there is that center that is not affected. And I can connect with that and get rooted in that and live from that space more and more.
What do you mean by none of what we go through, that we're accumulating stuff from going through difficult times?
It's not in vain, because just going through the experience of pain, going through the experience of strain is harnessing something very precious, some strength, some wealth that is then with you. Even if you right now cannot benefit from it, cannot reap the fruit of it, it's a capital that you are accumulating, and eventually you will start to reap the fruit of it. And then looking back, you will think, oh, maybe it was not a bad thing that I went through all that.
I don't know, it's just like my challenges before this whole sleep thing, this other issue started happening, were already quite a bit, and I felt like I could still rise above it much more. But this feels like it's quite a challenge, and I don't know, I still keep coming back to if I could sleep better and I could connect easier to that
Yes,
space.
right.
And this feels like it's so hard to heal one's body when one's not sleeping. I feel like my faith is lost on some level. But I mean, I'll listen back to what you said, because there were some really good things that really I relaxed into and felt like that could be really helpful.
I wish you a lot of courage and strength.
Thank you, Werner. And I guess courage is the main word there, isn't it? I mean, it's an important word because it's so easy to go into to lose faith or go into fear and worry, and the courage is to connect even when the fears and the worries are there, to make that effort.
Not
Is that
to
right?
be, not to be, courage means not to be a victim, a helpless victim. Yank ourselves out of that helpless victim mode.
Thank you so much, Werner.
I wish you well. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
We started out today with that question of that man, how to overcome the ego, the pride. It needs a profound decision. And it's also true for all the things that we have been talking today. It needs profound decision on our part. And that we can contribute. How much we are always successful or not, we may not be in control. But it needs a profound decision to start, and it needs a profound decision again and again to continue. And the more we are doing that, the more the confidence grows, because something in us feels, yes, after all, even if it is not manifesting right immediately the way I would like it, something is moving, something is building, something is happening into a good direction. If our motivation is pure, it can only be in a good direction. And that potential is there in everyone. But that is the game of this world. That profound decision has to come from us. Sometimes there are moments or periods of grace, something may fall on us, everything is so wonderful and easy. But then that period goes again. It needs that profound decision. Okay, I'm going for it. It's here. It's now. It's a reality. It's not a fantasy that maybe if I do this, if I do that, I'm getting something. This, what we are talking about, is that which is alive right now, that which makes everything possible, every breath, every thought, every emotion, every experience. Connect with that and decide to do so, and decide to be honest, and decide to continue. For this is the one thing that is worth, so much more worth than anything else. I wish you all well. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.